All right, so whenever I am buying an income ETF, before actually pulling the trigger and clicking on buy, there are five things or five questions that I kind of ask myself, and I do some research and I take the time to really understand and take the best decision that I can for myself. And in this video, I just want to talk about what are these things that I do, and the goal of this is hopefully help people understand better their investing and simply help people make better decisions with their money and be more comfortable with their investing in general. So this video is going to be kind of a more wide video, but it's still going to be more on the income investing side. So for the sake of this video, I'll be using YMAX as an example. So let's say I do not own any YMAX in my portfolio, and it's something I've been hearing about, something I've been looking into, but I haven't quite made my decision yet. What are the five things or the three things or few questions that I'm going to ask myself before actually pulling the trigger and buying 1,000 shares of YMAX and dumping a bunch of money into this new ETF? The first thing that I'll be doing, and I think that anyone should be doing this in general, whenever you hear about a new ETF that you didn't know, it's always good to just go on the ETF's actual webpage and read about it, skim through the page, kind of have a good understanding of it, even if you're not planning on buying any of that ETF. It's always good to learn about all of your options and put that in a drawer and leave that in the back of your mind. And maybe in 1 year, in a few months, that ETF that you read about is going to come back in the back of your head. And you might think, oh, this is a good opportunity to go back, look into that one. It's another option because you have no idea. Like if you go on Twitter, if you do research about ETFs, you can find a bunch of new ETFs. You think that you know all of them because you're already like a seasoned investor. Kind of goes in your inventory of ETFs that you know in your head. First thing you want to do is go on the ETF page and read about the ETF, and it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to take 5 hours. You don't have to do a full due diligence with a bunch of notes and stuff. Just go on the page, read it. On the top of the page, usually they're going to quickly explain. So here they say that the fund of fund, it invests in all of the assets from YieldMax. For example, for this one, it says that the fund portfolio will recalculate on a monthly basis. So here you kind of understand how it works. And then if you go down, usually they're all of the same, the pages. They kind of show the total returns, the performance on a month to month or on a quarter to quarter, and they show since inception. Whatever data they have available for the fund, they're going to show under their performance tab. Then they have a distribution detail section, so they kind of show all of their distribution history. So most of the funds that are more income oriented, they're going to have the distribution section more highlighted and more on the top of the page. The funds that are less income oriented, you might have to go down, click on another tab and look for it. For example, YieldMax here, they put the whole history in front of you on a nice table that's easy to see, and you can see the distribution per share week after week. And most of them, they also allow you to download the full history if you want to do some analysis or look at everything on your own or whatever. Then you have a section with the fund overview. So this gives you kind of a quick summary and a quick explanation, easy to understand, summarizing everything about how the ETF is working and kind of what to expect. So this is a quick explanation of if someone asks you, why do you invest in YMAX? What's YMAX about? That's where you would get that answer. When you ask yourself, what is even the purpose of that ETF? Is it total returns? Is it income? You would see that on the funds page as well. And then you have all of the other input information. So if it's a fund that's actively trading options, you should see the management fee here should be pretty high compared to more traditional ETFs. You should see the full net assets as well, the NAV, the outstanding shares. So all of that information will be on the funds page. And also very important is to go check out the holdings. For example, YMAX holds all of the YieldMax funds. So inside of YieldMax, you're going to see all of the YieldMax ETF. If it's an S&P 500 ETF, inside of the holdings, you can go look. They're going to be holding the whole S&P. The NASDAQ, they'll be holding the NASDAQ. Some of them, they hold only 15 companies. So YMAX is not just a weekly paying ETF, but you understand that when you put your money into YMAX, you're splitting your money evenly throughout all of those ETFs. And that is very important to understand and important to know. Once you're done going through their page, you understand what the fund is about, what's their holdings, the main purpose and everything. You get the gist of it. You can even go read through their prospectus. You can download that there if you want, if you're really a nerd and you like going into the details and digging deep. Then next thing you want to do is look at the total returns, because a fund can sound cool. It's easy to say that a fund is going to generate a lot of income. It's easy to write that the latest distribution was 85%, but what are the actual total returns of a fund? Is it actually good? Is it doing well? And that's where you want to see this. So you can go on Seeking Alpha. You can write any stock here. They track all of the stocks. This site is incredible, and you don't have to create an account. As you can see, I'm not even logged in here. You can do this for free. So you can write YMAX in the search bar. Then here you have all of the information, and you want to click on the tab here on the right. It will open the chart like so, and it will automatically compare to the S&P 500. You can click on select symbol, change the symbol if you want to compare your ETF. For example, if it's a NASDAQ ETF and you want to compare it to the NASDAQ, you can do that. And then what you want to do here is you want to click on select metrics. You want to remove price returns and change this for total returns. So this will be the actual price returns plus the distributions. And this is what you need to see. Same thing for the S&P 500. S&P 500 is still paying a dividend of around 1%. So it's important that you take that into consideration if you really want to see how the fund is performing. So always check the total returns. You can just remove the price return, especially for those high yield income ETFs. The price return is always going to look bad on paper if you don't take into account the distribution. So this is what I do. Here you can play with the chart. You can put 1 year, you can put YTD, do whatever you want, look at any period that you want, and you can see how the fund compares to the S&P or to any major index or any other ETF or threshold data that you want to use to compare the performance of that ETF that you would like to invest into. And from there, I kind of make my decision. Sometimes the fund looks very cool on paper. I look at the total returns and I kick it out because it sucks. And sometimes I look at a fund, I'm very interested. On paper, their strategy is super good. They're not capping the upside. They're doing this, they're doing that. They have a little bit of leverage. They're a little bit different. Like fun fact is recently I bought MSTE from Harvest. I was looking into it and then I compared the total returns of MSTE and MSTR and I saw that MSTE was literally the same thing as MSTR. So I just went and I bought it because it just showed that this ETF is able to generate high income and follow the total returns of their underlyings. From here, this really when you kind of make or break your decision. If the total returns are good and you're satisfied with that, go ahead, keep going. If you think they're very bad, then I think you can just stop there and there's no reason to do further research. You see that on paper they're doing bad, regardless of how high their distributions are or how low they're paying or whatever they say on paper. If their total returns are bad, the numbers don't lie. And I think this is very important to check. So for the research part, that is all that I do. And you can literally do that in 15 minutes, but you can just go on a page, skim through it, read through it fast. Like if you don't have to go through every single detail about an ETF, like usually you kind of understand it after 10 minutes of reading on their page what they're doing. And then here you check your chart, good, everything checks, good total returns. Then I ask myself those two questions. I say, what if it drops? So if I buy it tomorrow and it drops 20% in the next 2 months, what would I do? Would I sell it? Would I panic sell? Or would I be comfortable buying more shares? And if the answer is I would be comfortable buying more shares, then I pass the check. And if the answer is I'm not comfortable holding this for the long run, I would hold it now because it's doing, let's say a fund has been doing very, very well. For example, OLT has been doing so well recently. And a lot of people, I think, bought it without asking themselves that question. What if it drops? And now that OLT dropped a little bit, people are panic selling out of OLT. So it's important to have a plan when the market goes up, but also when the market goes down. Usually if the answer is that as soon as that ETF drops, you will not be comfortable holding it, then it's probably not a good idea to buy it because the market always goes up and goes down. So eventually that drop will happen and it's just a question of being lucky there and it just becomes gambling. You're just hoping that you get lucky and it stays up for long enough for you to make enough money before selling it. In my personal opinion, not financial advice, I think that you should be comfortable holding an ETF that will go down and you should be comfortable buying more shares at a discount because you're investing into this for the long run. Second question I ask myself is what are the competitors? So let's say I really like YMAX. I'm always going to ask myself, what are my other options? It's always good to see what else is out there. For example, you want to buy some new running shoes because you're getting into running and you really like the ASICS shoes, whatever model that you like. Okay, very cool. You're about to buy them. You put them in your cart. It's always good to do a last check, see, okay, what do Adidas has to offer? What does all of the other brands have to offer? Really from there, it really helps you strengthen your decision and really kind of convince yourself that these are the shoes that you want. Because if you really want ASICS shoes and then you go look at all of the other brands and nothing really catches your eye as much as those shoes, then you know for a fact that this is the good pick for you. And it's the same thing for ETFs. Like if you really like YMAX and then you go look around and you can't find any other ETF that is as appealing and that resonates as much with your investing style and with your goals, then you know for a fact that you're not going to be regretting. If you don't look at the options and you buy YMAX and then next week your friends tells you about another ETF because you didn't take the time to do research and that ETF sounds better on paper for your own goals and it checks all of the other boxes, then you might be wanting to sell YMAX and buy the other one and you might lose money. So it's good to check for the other competitors, and with the other competitors, the same thing. You read through their page, you look at the total returns and you ask your questions, what if it drops and all these things. And then you come back to YMAX and then you decide, okay, I looked around, YMAX is good, YMAX is bad. If everything checks the box, last thing I do is I start by buying a small position. So let's say I'm planning to put $10,000 into YMAX in the future. I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, I might only put 500 bucks or $1,000 and hold it for a few weeks to kind of get used to it, kind of get used to the price movement. And I actually did that with YMAX. I was holding a few shares, a tiny amount of shares of YMAX for 2-3 months because at first I didn't believe in that ETF. I just bought it for fun because it was weekly distributions and it was new to me and I wanted to try weekly distributions. So I only bought a few shares. I hold it for 2-3 months and I was investing into other things, minding my business, not really caring about YMAX. And it was just sitting in my portfolio and I was getting comfortable with it. I was seeing YMAX going down, going up, and I was seeing paying me consistent weekly distributions and I thought it was pretty cool. So then when the time came where I made my mind, I did more research. I was already used to YMAX and I knew what YMAX was doing. I knew what to expect out of the stock. So it's the same thing, kind of accommodate yourself to that ETF, buy a little bit of shares, hold it for a few weeks. Depending on how impatient you are or whatever, you can add more shares as time goes. But I would say don't put a big in an ETF that is not in my portfolio yet, just because, I don't know, personally, I kind of get comfortable with ETFs, and the longer I have it in my portfolio, the more I understand it and the more I'm used to seeing their price movement day after day. And also when it's in my portfolio and I have money into it, it feels more real. So when I actually look at the market every single day, I add it to my list of stocks. And when it goes up and when it goes down, I can actually relate to it because I actually own it. And sometimes I track some stocks that I don't own. When I actually own them personally, I care more and I pay more attention to them. And I try to understand why they're going up, when they're going down. So then when I'm ready to buy more of them, when I'm ready to buy more shares, I'm much more comfortable doing that and there's no second guessing and it makes the whole experience better for me and it's just smoother in general. So yeah, guys, that was it for the video. I don't think this one will be too long. Let me know if you guys agree with me, if you guys already do these things, or maybe you guys have some other checks on your list that you do that I didn't mention in this video. Let me know in the comments. It will also be useful for the other people watching this video who are maybe newer to investing. And anyways, guys, just avoid FOMO, don't rush into buying an ETF because everyone is saying it's going to go up and it's a very good ETF. Just put your money into things that you're comfortable putting your money into. Don't just do things because everyone tells you to do these things. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. And if you want to support me, like always, subscribe. It's free and it's the best thing you can do. It makes me happy and it motivates me to make more videos. Feel free to follow me on X as well, incomegg, same handle as YouTube. And until next time, take care, guys.